Hello, everyone, again. Welcome today. We're still in perfect time, and we'll be talking about two tenses. Number one, future perfect, and number two, future continuous simple. We might even get into future perfect continuous. We'll see. We'll first begin with the infamous, I would say, future perfect tense, at least infamous among Croatians, because you guys don't really get along with this tense. First the question is, well, when do we ever use this? Why? How? When do I use this tense? Well, we do use it, and we use it when we want to emphasize something before a specific time in the future. Now, let's go over form very quickly. Now, I'll abbreviate. Future perfect, FP, okay, is formed by the future the future form of have, right? Will have, and then of course we have our past participle. Now, okay, when we teach future perfect, we like to teach it in comparison with past perfect, because when we're teaching perfect, we're teaching the same thing over and over and over again. You should know, and I'm being trite again, but it doesn't matter. When I ask you, what does perfect in English emphasize? What is the essence of perfect? In one word, you should be able to answer that, and that is what? Yes, it means before. Okay, now the perfect aspect again emphasizes something beginning before another event in the timeline. Okay, now we have here future. So what this means is we have something in the future here, okay, some event, okay, and we're emphasizing something happening and completing before this event. We'll get more specific into example later. However, let us begin with some comparison. Okay, now remember when we talked about our past narrative time clauses, okay? For example, we use adverbs such as by the time, when, after, before, as, etc. We use these to take us to either past time or future time. When we're speaking in present time, we don't typically need anything to take us to present because it is implicit. When we speak presently, it's just known, it's inferred. So, however, if we're narrating something in the past, we need a vehicle to take us to the past. And likewise, if we are speaking in future time, we need a vehicle to take us to future. So, we do and use the same vehicle, or we use the same vehicles as we do in past narrative form. We can use with this future perfect form, we can use by the time, and this is probably the most common one you'll see used with future perfect, and this is what we love using. They go together like kaimak and shavapi. So that's pretty serious stuff. Now, so by the time. Now, if you see by, okay, you think perfect, all right? Automatically think perfect. Now, for example, okay, let us do something that we should already know. Let's give an example that we should already know, okay? And I'm going to write, let's see, okay? Well, we don't want to write it in yellow, do we? By the time the train left. Excuse me, by the time, wrote that totally incorrectly. By the time we got there, sorry guys, it's a Friday, what can I say? By the time we got there, okay, the train had, there we go, had left. All right, now, here we have a narrative clause, and more specifically, this is a past narrative clause because we use the past simple form here after by. Okay, this is a past, or excuse me, this is an adverb time clause, by the time. By the time we got to the station or there, wherever, the train had left. Now we can even emphasize before here with already, and we often do. It makes the logic here more clear. So, but you're thinking to yourself, well, what in the heck does this have to do with future? Well, okay, you have a point. But on a time linear little doodle drawing here, okay, let's just for example, let's call got is in yellow, and then we'll have the perfect had left in green. So it's all about what happens first. It's all about the order of events. So here we're emphasizing what happened first. And we always do that with perfect because, as we have already discussed at the beginning of this, perfect emphasizes an event happening before another event. Okay? And here, perfect simple, it does that plus completion, usually. Now, in our little timeline, we have had got to the station, and that, had left, the train had left before we got here to the station. It's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. So now, again, you're asking me, well, what in the Hades does that have to do with future? Well, guess what? It has everything to do with future because by the change of a couple tenses here, or times, we accomplish the same thing. So first, let us change a couple things, okay? Let's change get, or excuse me, let's change got to get. And again, I'm writing in yellow, okay? So get, by the time we get there, the train had left. Well, now we have a future time clause, by the time we get, okay? Get is present simple. In our last lesson, we learned that we use present simple with adverb time clauses such as by or when or after, etc. So, now this vehicle is taking us to future, okay? So, what does that mean? That means we have to change the main clause, the train, something already left. And guess how we do that if we want to emphasize the train left before the time we get there? We use perfect. Magic, isn't it? So, the train will have already left. So it does the same exact thing. It does the same exact thing, and we're emphasizing the same exact thing as we do in past, except we're speaking in future time. So, for example, other practical things, I'll have completed this by the end of the week, okay? We emphasize something completed before a specific time in the future, which is in yellow here. Now, let us move on quickly to future continuous simple. Now, this tense is a bit easier in form, in my opinion, and it does a totally different thing, or it emphasizes a totally different thing in future. It is a simple continuous form. Okay, so we will have will is an auxiliary plus be plus the present participle ing. Okay, now this tense does essentially two things. Okay, number one, its rudiment form, it acts with great time specificity. Okay, as any continuous simple tense does. For example, right now we are learning English. Last week at the same time we were learning English. Next week at this same exact moment we will be learning English. It is very time specific. It emphasizes something in continuum, right at a very specific time. Don't call me at 7 o'clock. I'll be having dinner. Okay? So that's number one. Okay? It is very time specific. This is its more or less rudimentary form. Okay, so it's its fundamental essence, okay, or emphasis is very time specific, as is any simple continuous form. Okay, continuous forms. Well, this means that we cannot use, of course, what type of verbs? What are they? Correct, state verbs. I can't say I will be knowing you. I can't say I will be loving the pizza. Okay, I can't say I am loving the pizza, even though McDonald's says it. Okay, you just can't do it. That's use number one. Okay, use number two, and this is going to be very easy. We use it as a plan or arrangement. As a plan or arrangement, just like present continuous. So next week, we'll be meeting each other next week. Okay, we'll be leaving next week. We'll be traveling to Spain next week. We use it for our plans and arrangements. So these two tenses, future continuous simple and future perfect simple, are two completely different tenses, and they emphasize two completely different things. So, let us go ahead and take a look at some of the material, okay? Now, let us look at, okay, this is a time clause, more or less, that we use with this time next week, because this is very specific. This time is very specific, is it not? Yes. So that means if it is very time specific, then that means we'll use it with future continuous, right? This time next week, we'll be traveling on the Eurostar to Paris. Okay? This time next week, we'll be traveling on the Eurostar to Paris. Okay? I'm not sure I won't be doing the same job 5 years from now. Okay? Actually, this is used as a prediction, but it emphasizes continuum or progression, just, in the act of. Okay? Number 3, who will be taking over from you when you start your new job? Again, this is prediction. We didn't cover this prediction, but we'll look at it here in just a second, okay? Now, this is more what I'm concerned with, this beautiful looking future perfect example. Number 4, please read this. Let me hear you. Yep. Computers will have changed beyond recognition in 20 years' time. Now, we're doing a lot of predictions here, and that's fine. But what we're mainly emphasizing what we're mainly emphasizing is before 20 years is over with, computers will have completed a lot of changing in our lives. So, this is a good example. Now, let's look over a little more of the material, okay? See if we missed anything. Okay, this time, tomorrow, again, you see this time, okay? I'll be flying to New York, okay? All right, that's fine. So let us do some practice with this, okay? Now, first, number 1, okay? Look at this. Don't call me at 7 p.m. as we, what do you think? We'll have had dinner or we'll be having? Well, I think that we're trying to be pretty time specific and we don't want to be called at this certain time because we'll be in progress of doing something, right? So, my bet would be we'll use will. Oh boy, let me change my keyboard. Okay, will be having. Okay, we'll be having dinner. But we blank by about 8. So call sometime after that. Now, here we are with this time clause by. And remember, we love using this time clause by with what? Let me hear. Say it loudly. Very good. You're progressing. I love it. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Future perfect. So, all right, but we will have finished. Contracted, but will have finished. Okay? But will have finished. So, but will have finished. So you can see these two tenses, they emphasize two entirely different things. Okay? One emphasizes completion of something before another event, and one emphasizes something in progression, in continuum, at an exact time in the future. So, here's our clue word. This time, I wonder what we'll put here. Yes. I'll be driving, okay? That's exactly what we'll put, right? To Scotland from London. Maybe I'll be halfway there. But I'll have arrived by evening because of this beautiful time clause here. By, okay? By. I'll have arrived. So these things are very simple because we have these clue words. And when we're especially first learning these forms, we learn them with clue and we use them with clue words to set context. It is very important, okay? Now, number 3, experts agree that not too far in the future, physical media such as Blu-ray or DVDs. Okay, now this is a prediction, more or less. Okay, will have become a thing of past or will be becoming? Well, this is emphasizing completion. Will have become. Okay? Now, will have become. Just emphasizing something finished before something else. Okay? Instead, we will be streaming. We're trying to emphasize something in progress, something what we'll be doing in action. Okay? We'll have streamed. That's completed. We won't have finished. We'll still be streaming. Okay, we'll be streaming, and I hope we know what streaming means. Maybe you're streaming right now on YouTube. So, anyway, by 2050, the world's population, will have risen or will be rising. From 7 billion to over 9 billion. Well, it definitely will have risen, okay? So, it can only rise from 7 billion to 1 billion, from 7 billion to 9 billion one time, okay? By 2030, India will be overtaking China. Okay, again we have by, will, have, overtaken. Now, again, this is just by using clue words by. This is what we have to look for, and this is what I encourage you to be very aware of. So, we'll just wrap it up at that, ladies and gentlemen, and I really appreciate your time. I love teaching this lesson. I hope you have gotten something from this. And start anticipating. Start looking for this future perfect especially, because it is out there. We use it a lot, but you're just not... You have to start anticipating it, and you'll start hearing it more often, I believe. So good luck with it, and we'll see you next class. Bye-bye.